Recession, government bailouts, subprime mortgages, foreclosures. As the credit crisis hits ordinary people, these financial terms have become part of our daily conversations. However, Cambridge University's neuroscientist Joe Herbert seems to have found the culprit of the financial meltdown.
Economists and financiers have focused almost entirely upon the financial world, the computers and the commodities and the bonds and the markets. What they forget is these markets are operated by people, and they don't ask nearly enough questions about what goes on inside the people.
For the last 4 years, Herbert has studied the impact of the hormone testosterone in financial decision-making. In men, the level is 20 to 30 times higher than in women, and elevated testosterone increases craving for risk. The research found that when traders had higher levels of the hormone in the morning, they made greater profits the rest of the day. But excessive risk-taking can lead to disaster, as we all found out in the wake of the current crisis.
There's a very good reason why trading floors are full of young men, because young men are built for that kind of experience. They're built to take risks. They're built to be competitive. They're built to be aggressive. They're built to try to succeed. And indeed, they often fail.
It's Charles Darwin's theory of evolution all over again. The trading floor is an electronic jungle, and only the strong and bold survive. So would our financial landscape look any different today if more women instead of men were in charge?
Women are certainly more cautious than men, but there are situations where caution is a good idea, of course. But you know, without risk, there's no success. Imagine Lewis Hamilton, the racing driver, driving around the track carefully. He'd undoubtedly finish every race, but he'd win none. He's got to take a risk.
For race car drivers, risk is imperative. For Icelandic bankers, risk resulted in the country's bankruptcy. To restore credibility, the government placed 2 women as chief executives of the now nationalised financial institutions. Heather McGregor, a city headhunter, says more women should take senior management positions to guarantee blue skies.
The bank that arguably has come out the best out of this, which is Lloyds TSB, has been the bank that has most aggressively promoted women. And they also have one of the highest numbers of women on the public company board in the FTSE 100. And, you know, maybe it's coincidence, who knows. But I think it's a very interesting fact that we should probably think about when looking at the future.
At the recent European Leadership Forum, however, the EU Commissioner for Competition was quick to point out that feminine thinking, although beneficial, is not just a female trait.
The feminine approach is not only familiar to quite a number of women, but also to certain men. We need to be aware that we have to be quite open in how we want to tackle the problems of today.
But that can swing both ways, as George Cooper points out in his book, The Origin of the Financial Crisis. According to him, not only men, but at least one woman was responsible for the meltdown.
One of the criticisms that's now starting to be discussed is that a contributor to this boom-bust cycle was the deregulation that was enacted in the 80s. And the 2 people that really drove that forward were Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. So I don't think it's really a male-female thing. I think it's inherent to all people.
In the end, greed and irresponsibility are likely to play a bigger role than gender, but it has certainly raised the issue.
One of the results of the present crisis might be to rethink the role of women in the financial world. And that would be very interesting. Just of course as it happened in many other worlds. We now see women doing jobs which 20, 30 years ago would have been unthinkable. And they do it very well.